My friends, what would you do if you were driving alongside the freeway, you saw a toddler in a diaper on the side of the road, you get out to check on the child, call 911, you end up being kidnapped, you end up being bound, you end up being put in the back of a truck of some sort, you eventually break free, you make it home, the police question you, and now the police don't believe you. What should you do? We're going to get into that, and I'm going to give you my opinion very soon. Today's article is pertaining to Carlee Russell. This is the young lady in Alabama that has been all over the news. The article comes from us from WESH Channel 2, online by a Chelsea Robinson. It's titled Police. Carlee Russell searched. This is searched online for Taken, the movie Taken, Amber Alert, before allegedly having been abducted. It says police and officials in Hoover, Alabama, provided an update Wednesday on the mysterious disappearance of 25-year-old Carlee Russell. Russell vanished last night from the side of an interstate. Now, this happened last Thursday, so just about a week ago. Russell vanished last Thursday night from the side of an interstate after telling 911 she saw a toddler in a diaper on the side of the road. Approximately 49 hours later, she returned home. She was in a bad situation. She says she broke free. When she was found, when she walked home, there was basically an outpouring of questions and support for her, at least initially. In an interview, the parents of this young lady, Russell's parents, said that right now she was not in a good state when she returned home and that they believe she was fighting for her life when they were missing. Hoover Police Captain Keith, began the Wednesday news conference by stressing that the police work on the case and will continue to work on the case and that it was not finished. Keep in mind this is still an ongoing investigation and there are many questions to be answered that he cannot answer at this time. The mayor of this particular town was also interviewed and he said the vanishing of Russell sent fear and panic throughout the community and the state. Of course it would. The mayor said that it's important to share an update with the community so everyone can be at ease. The police chief, the guy's name is Chief Nicholas Duras, said officers have been working since Russell's return to determine where she was. Due to the public fear this case has generated, we owe it to the public to share what we have learned, he said. The chief said surveillance video showed Russell concealed inside a bathrobe, toilet paper when she was leaving work Thursday night. Kind of odd, but that's what she had. He said she ordered food from a nearby restaurant. She also bought granola bars and cheese crackers from a local Target. The chief said she spoke to people on the phone that she was already familiar with, and this was right before she called 911 from the interstate saying she saw a child. Officials then played the 911 recording in its entirety. The chief reiterated Russell's call was the only report of a child on the side of the road. He added, no other children have been reported missing. He said she traveled 600 yards while she was following the child while on the phone with 911. 6 football fields. To think a toddler could travel 6 football fields without getting in the road, without crying. It's hard to understand, the chief said. He goes on to say her wig, cell phone, purse were in or near the vehicle when first responders arrived, but snacks from Target and the items she took from her workplace were not. It goes on to say for 2 days, tips poured in, but Russell was nowhere to be found until she returned home on foot Sunday. So, like they said, 49 hours approximately later. According to the chief, Russell told detectives that when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came from the woods, forced her into the car, and then she woke up in the back of a trailer of a semi-truck. She said she was taken by a white man with orange hair with a bald spot, a woman, and she said she heard a child crying. So there's a lot to go through here. Russell said she was forced to undress, and she believes that they took pictures of her. She said the woman played with her hair and fed her cheese crackers. She said she was eventually able to escape and ran through some woods before she was able to find her way back home. The chief goes on to say detectives did not press her, and after the initial interview, she was allowed to go home so she can get some rest. Afterwards, the chief said multiple searches were found on the day of her disappearance, and that these searches were part of the reason why they believe there's some issues here going on, and they believe it's relevant to the investigations. For example, her searches online were, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert, or how to take money from a register without getting caught, and also Birmingham bus station. And then, as we mentioned, the movie Taken, and finally it says maximum age for an Amber Alert. Clearly somebody was doing some research for some reason. There are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can answer those questions, the chief said. I do think it is highly unusual for the day someone gets kidnapped. Several hours before that, they're Googling the movie Taken about an abduction. I find that very strange. He said law enforcement has not been able to verify the story Russell told him, but he does not believe there's any danger to the community. Chief said Russell's parents have told him their daughter is not ready to speak. He said he thinks they are believing what their daughter tells them. So this has been all over the news today, and this story here was updated as of this morning, which is July 20th, 2023. This particular case reminds me of that case over in California. I believe it was Sherry Pippin, the mother. I think she had 2 or 3 kids, and she said that she was abducted. It was some kind of weird story similar to this story, and it turned out she simply was trying to find a way to disappear, to go to a boyfriend's house and make it look like a kidnapping. And I believe she's in prison as of right now, serving time for a list of charges, including but not limited to making a false police report. In this particular case, it's clear that the police do not believe her, and the police are clearly investigating her for a potential crime. I'm not sure what those crimes are. They haven't said, but obviously making a false police report, making a false 911 call, making a false or triggering a false Amber Alert, these all cumulatively could be charges that she could face. So, as I asked at the beginning of the video, what should this young lady do? If you were in her shoes, you were Carlee Russell, and no one was believing you, specifically the police were not believing you, and you were under this type of scrutiny, what is your best course of action? Well, I can only give you my opinion, and remember, I'm not an attorney. This is just my opinion. I've had a lot of experience in all kinds of areas of the law. However, this is just my opinion. And my opinion is simply she should remain silent. She should get herself a lawyer, and she should stop doing any interviews with anybody, especially the police. Remember, I talk about this all the time on my channel. You have a Fifth Amendment right against incriminating yourself. You have a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. You need to use this right. You also have a Sixth Amendment right to have a counsel, have representation, represent you in any kind of criminal proceeding. And this is what's really important, folks, and this is where most people get lost or they make a mistake, and that is you have to specifically tell the police, I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. That's the way you say it. And you also say, I am exercising my Sixth Amendment right and I want a lawyer. If you cannot remember any of that, remember this. I want a lawyer. I'm not talking. And then remain silent. It's just that simple. At any rate, I hope you found this information helpful. This is an interesting, ongoing story, and I'll keep you apprised of it. I'm always glad to bring you something like this. I hope you found it interesting. As always, I'm coming to you again from beautiful Zephyr Hills, Florida. I am JR Dukes.